In the last couple of years, I have read more than 20 books about the topic of self-confidence, which has helped me to turn from anxious and insecure to a healthy level of confidence and self-esteem. And in this video, I just want to talk about the 5 main things that I've learned, my favorite book, as well as how all of this can help you to raise your level of confidence as well. But first, we have to understand what self-confidence even means. And if you just open your PC and Google for the definition, it will tell you that it means that you accept and trust yourself and have a sense of control in your life. Which makes a lot of sense, I guess, but also doesn't really leave any clues on how to actually become more confident. However, a lot more interesting, in German, the same word actually means Selbstbewusstsein, which means as much as being aware of yourself, but also knowing and understanding yourself. And this is already the first of the 5 points that have helped me the most that I want to talk about in this video. So if you think back to some of your favorite movies or series, there often is a character like Carl Fredricksen in the movie Up, which is an old, grumpy man that you shouldn't really like that much. But once you understand his backstory and once you see him struggling and you understand him a lot more, you often like that character a lot, even though at first, you shouldn't. He's just an old, grumpy man. Which means that just because we understand and know this character a lot better, we like him a lot more, which also counts for ourselves, because once we really know where we're coming from, what we stand for, who we are, it often becomes a lot easier to accept yourself. And the most important element of that is probably to understand your values and what you stand for. So one quick exercise that can really help is to pause this video and look at this big list of values and identify the 3 main ones that you personally believe in or would like to stand for. And knowing this can already help you to understand and accept yourself a lot more, but even more important, which also brings us to point number 2, is to actually live by those values. So another YouTube creator called Better Ideas made a really good video about this, where he mentioned that your subconscious is like a second person who's always watching and observing you whenever you don't stick up to your values or you don't live by them. That there becomes this element of separation, and that the only true way to sustain and have a healthy level of self-confidence is to actually live and stick to your values. And I always like to see like a personal bank account where whenever you live by your values, you put some money in, and when you don't live by your values, you put some money out. And this personal balance, they can move up by sticking to your promises, doing something you're proud about, giving to others, or where you can reduce the balance by lying and just don't living in a way that fits how you want to live. This balance represents how much you respect yourself and also to some extent represents your level of self-confidence and self-esteem. And I actually talk a lot more about this as well as all the other 5 points in the course about confidence and self-esteem that you can access completely for free by getting a free trial to a platform called Skillshare, or in case you don't like subscriptions, by buying it very affordably on a platform called Udemy. However, one of the best points to increase your balance brings us to point number 3. So sticking to this financial or bank account metaphor for just a bit longer, if you look at your own bank account, you will notice that there will be certain sub-areas that are more of a problem than others. Maybe you consider yourself as a foodie and you spend way too much money going out, or you chase the latest fashion trends, or you always spend money on the latest tech, whatever it might be. And the same can also be true for your level of self-confidence. So, for instance, I currently give trainings for presentation skills and personal skills for a company, and I'm very confident giving those trainings. But on YouTube, it's a whole other thing, and I even made a video 5 weeks ago where I talked about my struggle with my perfectionism for, making those videos. And if you think about it, maybe you're very confident around 1 or 2 people, but once the group gets bigger than 10, then you notice, I don't feel right, I don't feel so confident. But this separation, it's massive, it makes a massive difference, because it doesn't mean I'm unconfident, it means I'm unconfident or was a bit unconfident for creating YouTube videos. And it doesn't mean that you are not confident, it means that you're not confident in X, Y, or Z. And once you know this, you can on the one hand accept this a bit more. It's like, it's not about me, it's about this one thing, and it just needs just a bit more time, I'll figure it out. But it also means you can change something about it. And this exactly brings us to point number 4, which is one of the best ways to grow your level of self-confidence in those little sub-areas. So there's a TED Talk about a guy who really struggled around people, especially for a certain fear of rejection. So he came up with the idea to do something which is called the rejection challenge. So he went out every single day with the objective to get a no. And the first day he went to somebody and asked him if he could borrow some money, got rejected, ran away, and thought, man, this will be way harder than I expected. But on day 5, we went to a donut shop and asked if they could arrange the donuts in a way that it represents the Olympic flag. They actually said yes. And they made this Olympic flag, and he was stunned. This video went viral, that's why he gave the TED Talk. But he didn't only get way more yeses than he expected, and did things like giving an announcement on an airplane or getting the Olympic donuts, but he also noticed that the fear of rejection makes no sense. He tried it out, it felt horrible, but there were no negative consequences. And thus he grew in his level of confidence and self-esteem around other people. And the exact same thing can be true for whatever you might be struggling with. So if it's around people, you can try something similar. Or if it's, I don't know, about making videos, that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's just to make a video once a week, every single week. Because over time you expose yourself to it, you get used to it, and thus also building your bank balance in a different way. I mean, now you stick to your values, you keep your promises, but you also do stuff that, to show yourself, I can do this, or even if it's uncomfortable, I'll be fine. But everything would kind of fall apart without the 5th point. So one of my favorite books about confidence and self-esteem is called Quiet, and explores the idea of introversion, meaning where does introversion come from, and what does it actually mean. And very interestingly, there was an experiment where they gave some kids some new toys. And around half of those kids reacted very strongly, they were happy, they were dancing around, super happy. And around the other half, they reacted more calmly, more steadily. Cool, it's a new toy, but that's okay. So guess which group became the introverts? The ones that reacted very calmly, or the ones that were super excited and stimulated by the new toys? It actually turned out to be the ones that were super excited and reacted very strongly. Because what they found out is that introverts in their amygdala or the hippocampus, they just react more strongly to new stimuli. So whenever they are in a super new environment, it's very loud, very crowded, a lot is going on, they are very overwhelmed. Whereas the other group, the later turned out extroverts, they're just reacted more calmly and sometimes need more stimuli to actually be happy. And that's why they kind of seek more moments when they're out with other people and they do something new and do something crazy. It's just a difference in the brain that you have while growing up. And this helped me to understand introverts a lot better, but it also made me realize, like, wow, there's probably so many introverts out in this world who think that something within them is broken and they have to change this, even though they're just wired slightly differently. And the book also actually talks about that you can train yourself to become more extroverted by doing a bit similar to the rejection challenge, by getting used to those new stimuli, so it doesn't really trigger you as much. But still, I think there will always be moments when you're uncomfortable, you will seek out new challenges, and there will be moments when you doubt yourself, it will not be good. And that's why the 5th realization, probably the main one, is to have more compassion towards yourself, be okay with yourself if you struggle, and treat yourself a little bit more like your own best friend, and through the process also become a lot more comfortable in discomfort, because at least you're supporting yourself instead of pulling yourself down. Hopefully this helps, and thank you for watching.